All right, let's just jump right in. What if I told you that a world war has already started, but you just haven't noticed? And what if I told you the battlefield isn't thousands of miles away, but it's right here in the palm of your hand?
I mean, this is the chilling statement our source material opens with. It argues that all of us are, pretty much unknowingly, soldiers in a totally new kind of conflict. You, me, anyone holding a phone, we're all on the front lines.
So how did we even get here? To really get a handle on where we are now, we first need to take a quick look back at how we got here. Because the rules of the game, they've completely changed.
For most of human history, warfare was pretty straightforward. You had one army in their uniforms fighting another army in their uniforms on a real physical battlefield. The lines were drawn on a map, and you knew what the goal was. Take that hill, capture that city.
So you see this evolution, right? The first 3 generations of warfare saw technology get more and more advanced. We went from swords and spears to tanks and rifles, and then all the way up to planes and missiles. But through all that, one thing never changed. It was always obvious who was fighting who. State versus state, army versus army.
But then, everything changed. A totally radical shift. The analysis we're looking at points out that after these really costly, drawn-out conflicts like Vietnam, a new strategy started to form. The big question became, how do you win a war without losing a single soldier? Or better yet, without even appearing to be involved at all? Well, that's where fourth-generation warfare comes in.
So think about this. The goal is no longer to defeat an army on the battlefield. The new goal is to make a country literally tear itself apart from the inside. And the real enemy? They're a ghost. Hidden, invisible, someone you can't even identify.
And get this, according to the author, there's a literal playbook for how to do this. Step 1, you start by weakening a country's core systems, its politics, its economy, its social fabric. Step 2, you secretly fund and arm militant groups inside that country. And finally, step 3, you use those groups to light the match and start a civil war, so the whole state just collapses under its own weight.
Now this is where it gets really interesting and kind of scary. Because the primary weapon here isn't bombs or bullets, it's perception. It's about psychological warfare. You spread rumors and conspiracy theories to create fear, you use loud, inflammatory voices to stir up trouble, and you control the whole narrative by just repeating lies over and over and over again, until people accept them as the truth.
And to show this isn't just theory, the source material points to a very specific real-world example, a highly advanced intelligence unit in the Israeli army known as Unit 8200. It's often held up as a prime example of a state-level entity that does exactly this kind of information warfare.
The material alleges that its mission basically breaks down into 3 parts. First, it uses AI to comb through global communications, looking for weak spots in society. Next, it allegedly carries out massive hacking and surveillance operations. And the final step, pure info warfare, using thousands upon thousands of fake social media accounts to shape and manipulate what people are thinking online.
Okay, so if that wasn't enough, this model of destabilization evolves even further in the 5th generation. And this is where it gets really personal. The war stops targeting countries and starts targeting you, your mind, your attention, and your data directly. You've probably heard this saying before, right? It perfectly captures what 5th-generation warfare is all about. All those platforms we use every day for free, they're not really free. They're selling you. Your attention, your data, your behavior. That's the actual product.
And this chart just perfectly illustrates how vulnerable we've become. The source provides some stunning data on Arab youth, showing that a huge majority, 61%, are addicted to social media and games. And get this, 2/3 of them check their phone at least every 15 minutes. Our brains are literally being rewired, which makes us the perfect targets for this new kind of influence.
So, what are the weapons now? Well, they're digital, and they are absolutely devastating. You've got AI algorithms that know you better than you know yourself, and they can subtly steer what you think. You've got AI-generated deepfakes that can cause total chaos, like that fake video of President Zelensky telling his troops to surrender. Then you add in autonomous drones and cyber attacks powerful enough to paralyze an entire nation's infrastructure. These aren't weapons of mass destruction anymore. They're weapons of mass disruption. So, if you thought that last part sounded like science fiction, you might want to buckle up. Because the 6th generation is where things go from sci-fi to something else entirely. The source literally calls this the Star Wars era of conflict. The objective here is just breathtaking. Seriously, it's no longer about influencing you with data or algorithms. The ultimate goal is to directly access and manipulate your thoughts, your emotions, your desires, your actual will.
And just look at the theoretical arsenal for this era. It's staggering. We're talking about thought control technology in the mental domain. In the digital world, quantum weapons that could disable any device, anywhere, instantly. In space, you've got warfare that targets satellites to cause total economic collapse. And on the ground, fully autonomous robots making decisions faster than any human ever could.
And just in case you think this is all just wild theory, the author points to a really interesting and frankly kind of creepy statement by Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu. He said that anyone with a phone is carrying a piece of Israel, which seems to hint at the potential for some kind of embedded technology we don't even know is there.
Okay, so let's bring all this together. What's the ultimate takeaway here? The battlefield has moved. It's not in the physical world anymore. It's moved into the psychological world. The new territory being fought over is your mind.
I mean, this comparison right here makes it crystal clear. We've gone from physical battlefields to psychological ones, from visible enemies to invisible influence. Military hardware has been swapped out for information as the ultimate weapon. And it's no longer just state versus state. It's ideology versus the individual.
And the scale of impact has been turned completely upside down. In this new world, a single, well-made fake video can destabilize an entire country. One small, cheap drone can change the outcome of a major battle. And one single cyber attack can bring an entire economy to its knees.
Really? The central point of the source material is that these threats aren't some distant future we have to worry about one day. They are here, they are now, the lines have blurred, and the technology is moving faster every single day.
And so, after all that, we're left with one really profound and honestly pretty unsettling question. In this new age of warfare, where our own minds are the battlefield and our data is the weapon, are we going to be the ones in control, or are we going to be the ones who are controlled?